Saturn in the 7th house. And to find out if you have your Saturn and where it is, in which house, you need to know your time of birth. Without time of birth, at least within 10-20 minutes, correct, you cannot find the house position. And it's so important to know the house position of Saturn because it shows where delays in life will happen, where the biggest lessons, most difficult lessons, where things progress slowly, little by little, you know. So you need to know. It will give you so much insight. So how can you find that? You need to go to my website. I'm putting a link below to my birth chart calculator in astrolada.com. Enter your time and place of birth and all the rest. And you'll get a chart like that. And if you see Saturn, Saturn is indicated with the letters SC here. It will be together with the 7th Roman numerical in the 7th sign from the ascendant. Or if you're using the circular line, the circular chart, the ascendant is here, then Saturn will be here. It's usually indicated by this sign. In my chart, it's indicated by letters, so it's easier for you. So Saturn in the 7th house. What is the karma there? 7th house is the house of relationships and agreements and contracts and promises and marriage, marital agreements and business agreements. So you have some difficult karma from past life there. Whatever Saturn is, it shows where you made mistakes in a past life. Maybe you didn't keep promises towards a marriage partner or towards a business partner. You were someone who would not keep their promises. So maybe you were someone who would not do equal relationship. You would be someone who would always give more or would always require more. It doesn't matter. Whatever mistake you did in a past life, you in this lifetime, you're paying back for it by the universe, by being born when Saturn is in your 7th house. This means that whatever Saturn is, universe delays the positive developments of this house so you can appreciate it more, so you can learn how to do it more correctly, with more honesty, with more respectability, and not to make the same mistake. You slowly straighten your mistakes there. You've learned to do relationships in a painful way, in a wrong way in a past life. So in this lifetime, usually in the first 30 years of your life, relationships or happiness in relationships is delayed. Sometimes even Saturn matures after 30, 35. So sometimes people with Saturn in the 7th house might have a delayed karma for marriage till even their 35 year. You know, and a lot, maybe more than 70% of people with Saturn in the 7th house marry after 35 or find a partner that makes them happy before that, after 35 onwards. But before that, they usually have to go through lessons, through payback time, like they hurt someone in a past life, now this someone comes and hurts them, through rejections in relationships. Jennifer Aniston has Saturn in the 7th house, for instance. You know, the first marriage fell apart. Usually the later relationships and marriages get much better. A person learns to be masterful at what they were lame initially with Saturn later in their life. Again, after 35, sometimes even it can go up to 40, depends on the specifics of your horoscope. People who marry before they're 30, 50 with Saturn in the 7th house, usually they might find the relationship to be quite burdensome, to require a lot of hard work, not to be as pleasant as easy. And even people who marry late in life, their relationships and marriage will often be a source of a lot of responsibilities and hard work. And often in the first 30, 35 years of their life, they work very hard in relationships. It's like the area where they feel most blocked normally, or where they have a few rejections, a few sense of grief and pain, a sense of lameness. Saturn makes you gives you a sense of lack, you know, not enough. Or partners who make them feel not enough, or partners who they feel are not enough. You know, sometimes you project, either the partner belittles you or you belittle them and you think they're not good enough for you. But later, as we said, with age, this improves after 30. Such people advise you don't marry before 30, but maybe after 35 things will get better and better. Your relationships will be great in your 40s, 50s onwards. Also, 7th house describes the kind of partner you can attract, and Saturn is the planet of age difference, so such people can attract partners who are older than them, at least usually 7 years and above difference. Sometimes can be younger, you know, 7 or above, but there is an age difference often when Saturn is in the 7th house. Or a partner who is very Saturnian, who is like responsible, hardworking, who has a strong ethic of hard work. Saturn is the planet of hard work, who has a very somehow for him respectability in society is very important, and who works a lot and doesn't have so much fun, you know, who is kind of strict. The person with Saturn in the 7th house might find their partner very strict and restrictive sometimes. Depends if Saturn is in a good or difficult sign. In difficult signs, the Saturn partner can feel like a drain on the happiness of the person with Saturn in the 7th house. Might feel like too much of a responsibility, might feel like someone who is too oppressive. They can get an oppressive partner, someone who tries to tell them what to do all the time. These are the more difficult cases. But in the best case scenario, it will be someone who is more mature, more responsible, a bit more reserved person, who takes longer. Also, relationships to develop with such people often take longer, with more obstacles, with times where they have to wait. Finding the partner is also after a few obstacles, a few rejections, they happen. But the good news is that once you find a partner with Saturn in the 7th house, and it's the correct partner, not ones that you are having karmic payback with, you tend to stand in those relationships for a very long time, because Saturn doesn't want changes. So once you get married, even when the marriage feels barren and unhappy, the person will tend to stick there because of social propriety, or because for them it's very important that that relationship is done in a conventional way. So divorces are something that is not unconventional. Such people don't like to do it. But usually longevity, there is a lot of longevity in their relationship. Such people might have 1 or 2 serious relationships in their life which lasted very long periods, and the later they go in age, the happier their relationships and better their relationship become. Before that, there is much more burden, much more karmic influence, and influence of difficulties and hard work and effort. Okay, also the partner will be very hard to change. Like if you have Saturn in the 7th house and you really like someone, but they're a bit pain in the bum, and you think, okay, I'll be with them, I'll change them, they will, you know, they'll soften with time. No. What you get is that usually the partner, when you get a partner, they'll stay stuck, they'll stay like that. It will be very hard for you to change your partner if you have Saturn in the 7th house. Saturn is resistant to change, so your partner can be quite conventional, quite stubborn, resistant to change. So you get the person that you marry, that you're with in partnership, that stays for a lot of, to the end of their life, similar. But there is one good thing, because Saturn can preserve the person, it can preserve how they looked as well. Especially in their late age, in their 60, 70, your partner can look better than anyone else. They can look very youthful because Saturn preserves it, you know, as I said. Where person learns more self-discipline is where Saturn is. So the person learns more self-discipline through relationship, through the partner. Maybe you would attract business partners or marriage partners who will teach you how to be responsible, mature and grown up. Or maybe by trying to regulate and improve your relationships, you learn how to control yourself better and how to put more, you know, more self-discipline into your life. And often the marriage, when it happens, especially if it comes earlier or with Saturn in the 7th house, it might be due to fulfilling responsibility, you know, because it's the right thing to do, because it's what society requires. Saturn is very conventional, and in the 7th house, the person will go for a marriage where they don't necessarily have great passionate feelings for, but because society would approve of it, because it's the right choice, because it's what is proper, you know. It doesn't, not everything that I tell you happens. Maybe you would associate in your life, identify 10 or 20% of this, you know. Astrology is never 100%, but some of these manifestations will be there. And also when you enter into contractual agreements, they tend to be very long lasting, whether it's in business or, you know, in any other kind of contractual agreements. And these people, they learn in this life to make promises and to stick to them, you know, because they made mistakes in past life. In this life, they will be given plenty of opportunity to make promises and to stick to them. So they're learning slowly the rules of relationships in this life, and partnerships and agreements and promises, and doing these things correctly and loyally. But usually such people are very loyal in their relationships. And it's very great for work, because Saturn represents, it's a planet of hard work. So it's very, and seventh house is the house of agreement. So this is a very good position for someone who works maybe in careers that contracts are needed, where they maybe marriage consultants, you know, because you work the karma of Saturn by maybe getting such a job. Maybe getting a job where you constantly repeat the lessons of Saturn, because Saturn, you only learn its lessons when you do it constantly. So becoming a people with this position can become very good marriage counselors, very good people who write contracts, who maybe lawyers who write contracts, maybe people who observe and regulate contracts, or negotiators as well, who are trying to balance two sides. It's great for business agreements, for all kind of business agreements which people can have, because seventh house is the house of the marketplace, of the business, of exchange, of one-to-one exchange. So any kind of trading as well, such people can be very good at trading, especially in the second part of life, not in the first part, but later on in life, when Saturn starts giving better results after 35. So great position for traders, for business people, for people who are in marriage and counseling kind of jobs. But overall, it's more stressful on the emotional part of relationships when it comes to marriage and feeling, it delays the fruits and the positive experiences of those in life. But thank you very much, and please write if you have different impressions, you know, if you want to fill in something, to agree or disagree. Thank you.